Eternal God. Do I have some praises in this place? Come on, somebody, put your hands together. Give God a praise. We've got this Caribbean beat and we want you to join us to praise the Lord. So put on your dancing shoes and we want to say to the Lord today, glory, glory, hallelujah, God Almighty, you are faithful to the end. Glory, glory, hallelujah, God Almighty, you are faithful. Say it again. Glory, glory, hallelujah, God Almighty. You have all power and all wisdom. You have all riches. You reign in majesty, created all things. Starter, it's the CJ's Court. We're so delighted to have you tune in right now. I know there's a lot of anxiety today. People have been expecting the president to speak to them right from morning. It's been a joy just looking at all the memes that are coming up and everybody praising him so that he can, in the language of the street, play like himself. You know, I don't know what your aspirations and your hopes are today for the president, but well, we'll get to know what he says later on. But in the meantime, we are here and we're going to have this discussion. It's a money debate that is as old as time in itself, especially in families, relationships, when people are courting and coming together. Who is supposed to do what? Whose money is whose? What should the money do? It's as old as time, but it still keeps on coming. It's as stubborn as the sun rising in the morning. So to help us get on with this debate, I've got two gentlemen. I know we're supposed to have two ladies, but we've got two gentlemen and one lady. So I will do ladies first. I don't think she needs a lot of introduction. I'm so delighted she's here. She has literally just crossed oceans to be with us over here. And I've got Cystal Okusa, stylist, Life and Style with Cystal. She was hosting with me at some point as well, and we're happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for
Very
coming
honored.
all the way.
Thank you for, yes, I've crossed a bit of oceans for you.
Thank you, thank you. Then we've got to her right, we've got security expert Mbijiwe Mwendwa. He's not new to us as well, both because of the mainstream media and here as well. He was here a few weeks ago. Good to have you, sir.
I appreciate and greetings to my fellow panelists and to the audience. We hope to have a very powerful time and to thank you, Apostle, for having me back again.
All right. And then there is this gentleman, Stanclaus Agacho, who is very passionate about business. You run a YouTube channel, right?
Yes, I have a YouTube channel that is centered around how to start your business, how to grow your business, and how to scale your business. The ethos of that channel is really about empowerment.
All right. What are you expecting today from the president? Before we even get into this, what are you expecting from the president?
I need a break, really. I need a break from Nairobi. So please, he needs to let us just be. Some of us will make it, some of us will not. It's called natural selection.
Okay.
So then just the universe decides that at this point we are overpopulated. We need to reduce some people. I know it sounds harsh. I remember I told my dad this and he told me, what if it happens to the people you actually love? I'm like, okay, I see where you're coming from, right. but it has to happen.
Okay.
Because we can't keep like in a nice cocoon for too long.
Right.
This trophic means people are tired of sitting in the house.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. We'll get sick, yes, but we have strong immunity. Unfortunately, some of us will not make it, but that's how we develop herd immunity.
All right.
Yep.
Mbijiwe, what are you expecting today?
Well, like my sister, I really hope we can open up the country.
Okay.
I have projects and things that I want to do outside of the city. As much as the sector I work in, I'm not limited to movement, but when everyone else around you is limited, then it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So, of course, we are looking forward to air travel, international air travel. there are things we want to do across the nation. So I hope it starts today, and so this wait is too long. You should give us a break and just cut the wait.
You know, I've always said this, that I loved or preferred the system that South Africa used.
Okay.
Their approach was that they kept people updated. Like, we are on level 5 of the lockdown, so at level 5 this happens, then they say we're at level 4, and level 4 expect these particular sectors to be open, and level 3. I thought that psychologically prepares the people. Then when we always wait for like 21 days to hear, are we free or are we being...
But they were home for them. They were under house lockdown for a while.
For a long time.
For more than 21 days.
And the spike was
Yeah.
quite high in South Africa. They really had a serious hit from the coronavirus. I think ours was...
It's called
of course,
partial.
I accept the fact that, I mean, and I really thank God that we prayed at the beginning. But apart from prayer, I think there was, concerted effort right at the beginning. And because Kenyans had heard about this, it was already trending in Italy, Sweden, Germany, UK. People really, approached this matter extremely cautiously.
Yeah.
And that kind of has helped us, especially the early weeks where the cases were rising so slowly. Lately, though, the cases are going up. I mean, in very scary, proportions. Until you're wondering, is even gonna open the country really?
Right. Stanclaus, what are you expecting today?
Absolutely. I'm waiting. I'm expecting for leadership. I'm expecting Uhuru Kenyatta to continue to do what he has been doing so far, so good. We're actually doing pretty.
Are you expecting us to keep locking down the city?
I'm expecting to see some flights open, man. We are completely stranded. We want to start flying. We need to get business moving, right? So I'd really be happy to see His Excellency open the city.
All right.
Absolutely.
But the truth is, even as we talk about, Cystal has mentioned the fact that there's traffic. And when I was coming here, that's exactly what I was saying to the people in the car. I said, look, if you told somebody in another country that this is Kenya's version, then they would be asking themselves, what happens?
When there's no lockdown. Yes.
No. I think on a very serious note, and that's a very important highlight, I think to an extent after, say, the first 2-3 weeks, people began to feel the pinch of staying at home, and businesses began to truly hurt. Remember, most of the businesses here, almost 75 to 80% of businesses are small micro enterprises.
Yeah.
And so it is very hard for those businesses to be completely shut. Some of those businesses really support what we call hand-to-mouth kind of economic existence, where you have to work today to eat today. You don't work today, you don't eat today. So at the point, people just had to hit the streets, get back to the streets, and look for something else. And then the kids are at home.
Right.
You know how those kids, how their budgets transform tremendously when they come at home. And so people just had to find a way to survive. It's unlike what's going on in Uganda. Uganda, I hear even bicycles are not moving.
All right.
But again, the form of management in Uganda is more
African.
individual-centered.
But I think we're all just eating a lot. Instead of just blaming children are eating, but even us, we are eating a lot. Even in the middle of the night, we're just eating. I swear, you're only not eating because you're asleep or because you've just eaten. The budget has gone up.
Our relationships with the fridge have been improved.
Oh, yes.
But I think coronavirus was actually an interesting thing, because if you ask me, this is Africa's chance, right? You see, in the West, they have somewhat managed coronavirus because of working systems. Now in Africa, people say there are no working systems. It means then, if we have managed corona, is actually because of resilience and people's strength.
Yeah.
So it shows us that actually Africa has something going. Can you imagine we've been able to do this without working systems, as it were? So it is Africa's chance.
Yeah, you brought a very interesting perspective.
Yeah.
Which should be, now my question would be, do we always have to borrow what the other people are doing? Or should we begin to craft our own remedies to our own problems? Because it seems like, whichever way, the numbers are going high, but mortality is not high.
Yeah.
Mortality rates are not that high.
Yeah.
So should we begin to do this? Yoweri Museveni, during the late President Moi's funeral, said that in Africa, every president is a doctor of that nation. And he diagnoses the sickness of that nation and prescribes the drug.
Yeah.
Is this a chance for us to break away like Magufuli, you know, and begin to decide this is the path that our country will follow?
The problem of the African mind, if I may, my fellow colleagues, is that we are afraid of originality. From fashion to talking. Don't you think it's a bit strange?
You know, Cystal is a stylist.
Don't you think, Coach, that it's a bit strange that our official language is not ours? That our documents are drafted in a language that is foreign to us. So the problem then is that from the time we are children, we are taught to copy. We are all big copycats. So you find even the government structure we are running is not original to us. That is why, in as much as people have many things to say about Saudi Arabia, Dubai, and so on, they have remained true to themselves. And they have said that democracy belongs to the West. Let it far away with democracy for us. We are kings. We will do rulership, and it works for them properly. In some of those Arabic nations, you will find the things of poverty, healthcare, education. Those are things that are not in day-to-day conversations. Us, as the other hand, as the biggest copycats of the world, we are in shambles because we are implementing a system which we did not originate, which we do not know how it works, and we don't know how to work it. So it is Africa's chance to craft our path.
Okay, I don't think I agree with you 1,000%, because there's an issue of globalization.
Okay.
Globalization did not start from us.
All right.
We embraced globalization from the West.
Okay.
We had our own cultures, which are considered maybe archaic and all. So we cannot, when we're embracing globalization, there's trade, it's open. There are things that even our health systems, the things that we cannot do on our own because we were trying to follow what are they doing for us to borrow. But the time we are still catching up on maybe like our systems, like you're saying, but they caught up on their systems a long time ago. That's why maybe the democracy is there, like, is like the key. So since we're borrowing from what has worked on the other side, and then we come and see, okay, we still want to be globalized. So, because if you say that, oh, we're going to run these things on our own, we're going to lose the international markets. If we do international market and international trade, then can we trade amongst ourselves? No. And again, they also need us to some extent. Yeah? And if you talk about the Middle Easterns and all, there's culture. There's a lecturer of us who ever say that Africans don't have our own culture. Like even Kenyans, what is our culture? Because we are here and there, we're trying to embrace other people, we're trying to be globalized, we're trying to be modern. So even our clothes and fashion is because globalization is not from us. So the Middle Easterns, they could be backed up by the Islamist culture. So it helps them be a bit more grounded, and they could accept some things thanks to globalization, but not everything.
Correct.
Yeah.
But again, the concept of globalization finds meaning only in the context of individual cultures that have networked to form a global village where your culture, my culture, his culture
Absolutely.
is completely defined. However, we decide to chain link, to connect with each other. Actually, that's one of the reasons why coronavirus found a global explosion within seconds because of the interconnectivity of the cultures and nations. In fact, it's baffling that whilst the rest of us thought that China, is communist, is kind of, close to the world, within days, flights from China to the rest of the world sent coronavirus to the rest of the world within a matter of days, because our world has become so global, so globalized, yet so interconnected. Our cultures have become so dependent on each other. We depend on the American culture, we depend on the Middle Eastern culture. As my sister
Do they
saying,
depend on our culture?
Look, yes they do.
They don't depend on our
do.
culture.
And let me come over there. Look at how Dubai, for example, has become the global center, this region's center for shopping. However, the same Dubai, the same Middle East depends a lot on Africa and African culture. And of course, that brings us to the challenge of leadership in Africa. I hope, as my brother said on the other end, that truly the leaders of Africa take this as a challenge to grow Africa. For once, we have an opportunity. The mindset, we call it shock. The shock that our people have gone through in this season is enough transformational material for us to transform Africa. If our leaders only decide to, let's be Africa, made in Africa.
Absolutely. And then, Coach, the other thing is the biggest deception that is killing Africans faster than cancer is this. The idea that Westernization is civilization. Civilization is not westernization, and westernization should not be construed as civilization. Civilization is actually the gradual movement of a people, the improvement of the indigenous systems and processes and ideals, of our people. So, for example, if we as Africans believed a certain way of living, in a certain way of living, the improvement of that way of living is civilization. But copying, talking and dressing and ways of doing things is not necessarily, it's just westernization. One more thing. So I agree with Mbijiwe 100%, yeah, because we need to get back to our money conversation, yeah?
Yes.
That for globalization to work, it has to be a network of cultures, not a network of copycats.
All right. All right. Steve Charlo says, and it's quite a deep conversation. There is unfavorable Irish. Dr. Lindsay was waiting for Stanclaus today. Dr. Lindsay, and she's saying, Stanclaus is very sober. I love that. Evans Kataka, Kingsley, Owaga David, Priscilla, Maniki, Vilma, Okwengu, all joining us. Becky, Jonah, Lingo Evans, Dr. Samuel Omondi, Hudson Bandi, Leah Holler joining us as well. Richard Ocheng, again, the Betty Ludio, Clyde, Omondio Gola, Bianito Gola, each and everyone who's just joining us over here. Pastor Evans, the Bible Apostle, God bless you, my brother, for tuning in as well. Well, of course, we started with what is happening right now, and it could have just taken that direction. Good to see Harriet Zawadi as well, Yal Singwere, each and every one of you who's joined us. Tom Deuri tuned in, Adera James watching from Kisumu, Mukaminyaga, and all the other people who are just joining in. And I would like to ask you, as usual, you could share on your page, just have the watch party as well. But today we're here to talk about money matters, the money debate as well. We've just, just gone into the foundations of today, just talking about what happens around us. Well, I have other issues I would have asked. I would have asked Mbijiwe Mwendwa whether in Africa we could get to where the US got with their protests, and just overlook the entire corona thing. And people don't care because now they feel like they're so angry, and the anger has overshadowed the fear. We'll probably talk about that another time.
But maybe a quick answer is, I don't think the anger in Africa could completely spill to that. The one in America...
African police shoot you to kill you, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
When they killed Baby Pendo in Kisumu, nobody did nothing, I don't think our focus to civil protests would escalate to that extent. Let me also say we saw superpower nature in those form of protests that happened out there. But in Africa, truly, we are yet to graduate to that level where, did you see all people, black, white, whatever, Hispanic, they all went out to the street to protest over the death of a black man. Here in Kenya, for example, if a Kikuyu was killed like that, no Luo or Kamba will go to the street to protest over the killing of a Kikuyu. We first get very ethnic. So I should say we are the same 200 and something year difference of independence is still happening even in our mindsets. I saw Kenyans saying, we support the protest there, and I kept asking them, did you support when something happened to Musando or to all these people that have been hurt out here and we don't know? Look, so let's say America is America and Africa is Africa, and life goes on, sir.
All right. We come back to the money matters and the money debate. It's been, and we've all agreed, it's been a stretch. The last 3 months, been a stretch. Do you think that the roles that are played in families with regard and relationships with regard to money have changed or need to change? Anita Ray was supposed to be here, but she's not here. But she's of the thought that the woman's money is her money, and then the man's money is everybody's money. Do you think that those still should be held?
I think, Coach, that's a very pertinent question, yeah? And it's a very risky question to answer, especially on national television. Because because the internet never forgets. Be that as it may, I think it's a question of definitions. I think it's very important that if we're going to interact, and if we're going to interact long term, whether it's a business relationship or a domestic partnership, pardon my English, right, then the question of definitions at the start is very important. The reason why people feel deceived while in the middle of the journey is because you'll find that you have started your life with a particular definition, and then when that definition changes in the middle, or when somebody changes that definition in the middle, you get completely frustrated, in shock, and you are about, to jump out of the marriage, as it were, right? So you'll have conversations, when you want to catch the girl. Now you want to convince her, and you are casting vision, and you're saying, the way I believe in provision, I believe the man needs to, my father is my hero, he provided for us, and so on, right? And then the girl buys into the vision, comes into your house, and now once she's in your house, her money is her money, and is yours for the two of you. Then you ask, but madam, bring your cash. The problem is not that you should not provide. The problem is, what was the definition from the start? Because that definition then builds expectation. So by the time the lady is saying now, my money is mine and yours is ours, it is an issue of how did you define that particular interaction. 1, 2. It's also very important for the lady to be open-minded that definitions change. because life is such is life. Life is not a straight line. Right. So we might begin with the idea that I got us, right? But the realities of the city, that works in Eldoret and rural Kitale and so on, because you're not paying rent, the food is grown, the provision that there may be healthcare, education, and so on. But when you're living in the city, all of a sudden you realize, look, one income is not enough. So if there is some maturity and understanding, then both of you need to come to the table and say, hey, in as much as I'm desiring to provide, yeah, you're also a graduate like me, you also have ability like me, why don't you also go and bring in some bacon?
Is that fair, Cystal, to the lady?
I think it is. However, it's not split into half.
All right.
Yes, it's not split into half. It's not 50-50. Because if you're going 50-50, then issues about who is the head of the house will start coming in. Issues about you expect me to come home and cook for you and stuff will start coming up. Right. So if you say that you're going to split 50-50, school fees right down in the middle, if you have money, I have money, so, and then rent right down in the middle, it's going to be issues. Okay. Because then you'll ask her, could you need to cater to me, I am your husband. Then she's thinking, we are here like 50-50. Like we see in American culture or Western culture, they have maybe they say they go Dutch with stuff, yeah? Right. If both of you are working and well equipped, you go Dutch with stuff. But then they also have the culture where I don't have to cater to my husband. Okay. Yes, you are my husband and I'm your wife. You are partners, and it's different from our culture. Right. Yeah. Our traditional culture maybe says, oh, there's dowry. Okay. They don't have that. Right. So some things that we're asking for because of modernization, we also need to like pick and choose what really works in respect to our culture. Right. So it's fine that the woman should chip in and help with things like food, shopping in the house, as long as she's working. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. If she's not working, something I think I realized when I was doing the show with the husbands, that I don't think that was the biggest deal, that the wife is not working. It is the relationship that was happening between the two of them, the physical and social relationship between the two of them, whether she was working or not working. Yeah. Yes. So I think maybe for some men would say, because so that a woman respects you, do everything in the house, keep the money too, so that she doesn't ever say, but hata mimi nafanya.
I want to jump in. I'm sorry for cutting you short, yeah. But there are a couple of statements that you're saying that are completely making me like I just want to jump up and because you see, the truth of the matter is this, yeah. I think it's really important for people just to be real, right, and people to be honest and people to be authentic about themselves. Look at it from this point of view. This is a man who you have given your whole life. This is a man who, if he said now, sweetheart, you know what, it looks like I'm now going for surgery and I think I need one kidney. Ideally, you want to give this man your kidney and so on. You're willing to take care of them through cancer, you're willing to take care of them, etc., if they lost a limb and so on. What is it about money that then you cannot just release this cash? What is it, what is so special? And I have a couple of prepositions, only two, and then I let you jump in there. The first one is that women have decided to hide selfishness in this thing called, you are the leader of the house and I am there. So it's a convenient escape route, yeah, because they are projecting their selfishness in. You see, it's not 50-50, you're the husband, you know me, I'm the wife, I'll just buy electricity, it's 200 more, but you pay rent, do the heavy lifting over here, and so on and so forth. Number two, I think a love that has an accept is not love at all, but convenience. So it cannot be, I love you, I'll give birth to you, I love you, I'll make your home, I love you, I'll sacrifice for you, I love you, I'll give you my kidney, but remove your dirty fingers from my money. This love is suspect.
What you're not agreeing is that, say, for example, you and your wife, if you make more money, she works, but she doesn't make an equal amount of money, or if she makes more money, then those change. Because it would be unrealistic to expect your husband your husband to pay rent, yet he's making 7,000, for example, and you're living in a 65,000 house. Yet the wife is making 500,000. It's unfair.
So is the wife willing? This is the question.
No. It's common sense, really.
That brings in the aspect of culture, and how we learn culture, which is what we call in sociology enculturation. How are we cultured to walk into marriage? And again, also don't forget, this being a Christian channel, there's also the aspect of Christian definition of marriage. How far does it go? Where does selfishness, border to selfless love and all that stuff? Now, when you throw in the aspect of culture, most of us men were encultured. We were grown in cultures that told us the man is the head of the house and he must prove it. By all means, you must put bread on the table, roof over their table, of their heads, raiment on their body.
Let me just add to what you're going to say, because some of those cultures actually are the ones, because they say that the man is the head, they also propagated the thought that if the woman earns money, she should bring to the man because he's the head.
On the table. Let me tell you. Once, a long time ago, I think I was newly married, just about that time, or maybe I wasn't married. I'm trying to remember correctly. I rode in a matatu from Meru, where I'm born, to Nairobi, and I sat at the front. This is the time when we had the long Peugeot. Peugeot 5 or something, I think 504 or 506. And I sat with this driver from Meru to Nairobi, who for 3 hours, I think, gave me what has provided the foundation for my marital success. This gentleman from Meru to Nairobi planted culture inside of me. Now you can guess where I'm going with that. Because from Meru to Nairobi, he taught me this: your wife and your children, there should not be one day when they think of how they'll pay rent or how they'll do their shopping. This man went ahead to give me an example of his own son. He said, my son is a medical doctor. What I did with my son recently is I came home. He said, this car I'm driving is my car. I got to his house. I told him, get into my car. We went to Nyamakema. Nyamakema, they sell cereals there. He said, my son and I bought all cereals, jahe, what they call green grams, all those. He said, beans, maize. We filled them in the boot of the car. When we got home, I told him, that's what the old man said. I told him, this is what you do to your wife, for your wife. Don't let them be the ones to hustle to feed you. You feed them. This man said, if you want to have a successful marriage, meet all the needs of your house. Now, I've not been employed. Since I left the military, I've never been employed again. And truly, part-time, I have most money than everyone else in my house. So I get to meet all those needs. Now, I kept the pace of what the man told me, but I'm also wondering, had it been in a situation where my wife had more money, would I still want to do what that man told me? So there's an issue of culture here, my friend.
I want to ask you that, Cystal brought it, now you've raised it as well. So, do I play the role based on how much I have or based on my value system? Because if I believe, like the man told you, that I should take care of every bill in the house, should that change because now she has more money, so I'm thinking, okay, let's work with your money. Should I be changing how I'm supposed to behave based on circumstances, or should I push myself to the place where I will say, she has more money, but I'm still the man. I still want to.
Let me just backing up on what he said. Yeah, because of what he said. You know, there's the ideal, which is what he's saying.
Okay.
But now also you're willing to give this person your kidney, so you also can watch them die, struggling to feed the family. Yet you can do it.
That kidney is given in emergencies.
So look at it as an emergency. So say when you're coming in, you're doing well, like you're saying you're doing well, and then say circumstances change. Maybe there's COVID and then business that doesn't really pick up.
Right.
And then your wife now suddenly has more money than you do.
Suddenly.
He hates that that is going to happen.
Yeah.
No,
But
listen,
if it happens,
recently I gave my wife some money to do some shopping. While she was doing it, I ran out of money. I came to her to ask for some money from the money I gave her. So now as we speak, I'm owing my wife the money I gave her.
yeah, so circumstances can change. Should it change? Yes. You need to be able to support your spouse, knowing that. And also, we say that culturally, or you say African women or black women, the man shouldn't, at least he needs to be trying, even if maybe he lost his job. He needs to be trying to look for an alternative. Okay? So that he doesn't lose. So because I think when you get into your head and then you become either very aggressive towards your wife, or suddenly you're very cold, then things in the house are not functioning because you feel like you're not providing for your family. So at least push yourself. Should something happen and you lack, push yourself that even your wife, as she's supporting you, she sees, you know what, he's not just waiting for miracles to happen, he's actually doing something about it.
Okay, Stanclaus, who should pay the rent, man? should I, as a man?
Yeah.
Let's take this hypothetical case where my wife is earning 100,000, I am earning 20,000. So who should decide where we should live? Where do we go and live? Should we go into a place which I can afford with my 20K as a man? Or should we go to a place where she can afford with her 100K?
Yeah.
It could be a house that goes at 30 or 40, which is more than I earn.
Yeah.
So where should we go?
Chris, I see what you're doing. You're lighting up a fire, yeah? But I'm ready for you. So one of the things that I do as part of my business and profession is strategic planning. And in strategic planning, one of the things that are very clear is what we call vision review. And normally vision review comes from either the founder of the company or what we call the board, right? Why? Because every company needs one leadership. There has to be one leadership person or one leadership structure. There has to be somebody that is leading. Now, some friend of mine one day told me that if you met a man on the streets at night and you're going to buy coffee or whatever it is, and this person had two heads, you will definitely run away, yeah? Because something that has two heads is a freak, right? So for me, resource allocation is actually a subset of leadership. So within leadership, there's resource allocation, there's conflict resolution, there is, where are we going, and so on and so forth. So
what you're saying.
I'm coming home. I'm coming home shortly. I'm coming home. So if resource allocation is under leadership, right? I don't think resource allocation necessarily means resource generation. Okay, so I think the man should provide the leadership, and the allocation should be a merger of the incomes.
You know, they say in modern vijana language, nimekuonea 18. Nimemsikilia uko 18.
Yes.
Like, you don't have to be the source
Makes sense,
of the
yeah?
money.
Yes.
You don't have to be the source of the money, but you can determine how that money is spent. Well, that's an Herculean task for most marriages or people in a relationship to quite achieve, where, say, the woman is earning more money and the man less money, and the woman has to give the man the money to manage, resource allocation versus resource generation. But I think, as my sister said earlier, that's the ideal situation. And by the way, in a Christian setup, this is absolutely not a difficult situation.
What about everybody else?
But not everyone else that has Christian ideals, even for marriage.
Right.
Some people even prescribe to liberal ideologies of marriage, even where we have marriage as a contract.
Right.
So I cannot be in a contract with you where I'm the one earning and giving you money to assign to projects where we are in a marital contract.
Until I don't even have money sometimes for myself, because sometimes the lady may feel that, right, you want to allocate all this money, she also wants to do certain things. Before you came, Cystal, while we were still in the office, there was this general conversation that what is it that women want to do with money, that they must always keep some money with themselves? What is this that women keep on saying that they need to have money for themselves? You'll talk about that, but I'm just trying to ask this thing, Mbijiwe. If I am allocating and then my spouse feels that there are a lot of things that she also wants to do that are being overlooked, but then she begins to feel, I'm the one who's making 80% of this money. You don't think that that would raise the issue Cystal talked about, that when we try to go Dutch?
And Chris, that brings me down to what you do, man of God, the show you have, I mean the program you have for men called Man Up. We need a program to mentor men, truly. I have this lawyer friend of mine. She's a very prominent lawyer in the city. And earlier in the past, when I knew her, she told us about this guy she was seeing, and they were thinking it's going to get serious into marriage. Then one day, while that is happening, the man told her, now, your plot in Garden City, you put it in my name. Your car, you put it in my name. So she said to him, so what's the concept behind this? He said, a woman should not have more stuff than the man she wants to marry. And I'm thinking, well, of course that relationship didn't go anywhere, and she thought maybe he was coming to steal her stuff, and they broke up and they didn't quite get married. However, that shows you the mentality of most men when they approach marriage or relationships. Of course, as we said, there's a culture where a man thinks he should be, at the top. Right. But sometimes practically it didn't work. Maybe it's a young man who graduated from some college with a diploma, and she's met this beautiful girl who has a university degree or master's, and she's a corporate somewhere, and they love each other because love knows no boundary. And here we would know in any such a show like this, tell people to love, according to class. Love is where God leads you, whether that person is schooled or not. However, if the schooling...
Mbijiwe, you man, wait first. Mbijiwe, you're going too fast. You see, Mbijiwe, what's happening here, Mbijiwe, you're not being real, because what's happening in the city is this, and Cystal will confirm to you very shortly. If I came to Cystal today with my coat that I borrowed, she will quickly say, yeah, let's go for coffee and so on. But if I came in a different way, and it appeared like I'm struggling economically, that conversation will not go so far. Would you, Mbijiwe, advise your sister to marry a broke guy? So you find then that love, in my view, love is... I'm coming.
Let me tell you.
In Nairobi today, in as much as you want to come with philosophies and Bible, the truth of the matter is this. The love conversation is secondary after economics have been established. This is what is happening in the city. A lady will establish economics, then decide whether to love you or not. This is the truth of the matter. Let me just play devil's advocate a bit.
I honestly don't agree with that. That's not the case. The case is the conversation that will happen between the two of you. Okay, let me still speak for myself. For me, it's very key. I'm married, but it's very key.
Yeah.
Why did I marry my husband? Values. Do we have similar values?
Right.
For me, that was everything, because according to me, no matter what happens in between, we might have some difficult times or some in and outs, we might disagree, but as long as the values are not interfered with, the present husband, present father are not interfered with, we're going to be fine.
And I agree with you. And I admire you so much for that, because that is so ideal. That is awesome. But I'm talking about reality. I'm talking about what is happening.
Yes,
I'm talking about
reality.
I agree. And I couldn't. I don't refuse, But I want to pose a question, CJ, So what is happening, if you look at Instagram, if you look at Facebook, if you look at all these shows, and just see the reality, what's happening to young girls, what's happening to young couples, right? People will go to great lengths to establish economics first.
Then let's say this. Let's say this.
You understand?
Let's say this. To every young man out there that intends to get married to some woman, and I speak to men, do not try to approach that corner if you're not sure if you have a roof over your head.
Absolutely. I want to agree with you.
There you go.
There you go.
In your pocket.
If you're broke, go and work first.
Yeah.
Do you know what I tell?
Truly, I'm being sincere. I have younger sisters and cousins behind me.
Yes.
I have a daughter.
Yes.
I won't be so mean when that time comes to see who my daughter brings around us. But truly, I want to know: did your father teach you how to put a roof over your head before you marry my daughter?
And that also comes with age, right?
Well,
comes with age.
age,
what's
but really,
important?
at the age of getting into marriage, that should be established. If
But
you
you
can't
see-
establish that, you're not yet right for
But you
for
see, if you want
marriage.
to get married at 26, 25, and you're a man, that's crazy.
No,
I swear, that's
I got
crazy.
married at 26
no,
and
no,
I know
because,
that
but
together.
you see, you already had your head straight. But look at the men he's talking about now.
Don't you marry nobody's daughter if your head is not straight.
Do not marry any man who's under
agree
35. I promise you.
I agree with
Because
Mbijiwe.
men have this.
Don't attempt.
Sorry, Pastor Chris. Men have this. Okay, all of us, women who get to a certain age, 26, 27, we're starting to itch to get married. We're starting to feel like we're ready. But a man at that age, please go through your things, like your craziness.
No, wait.
Get to 30 and then feel like, oh, okay, fine, I have a new job.
Written in
Okay.
the Bible, it's written in the Bible.
Grow up first.
No man takes this honor upon himself. Don't try to take this honor upon yourself if you're not ready for
I
it.
swear, if they're under 35, they're so young mentally, they come in thinking that maybe like, hence we have the, pardon my language, they're called, the young boys, I forget the proper name that they're
Ben
called.
10.
Ben 10s, yes. Because most of these Ben 10s are going to be under 35. So they're trying to see, I don't have a way yet, so how about I also cling on that woman and also get something. But if you give Ben 10 time,
reduces their definition to a certain direction. So
but if you give Ben 10 time to get to 35,
Maybe
Ben
we
10
should
might
call them
actually
slave
change
queens.
his... Yes, because he'll know this is not permanent. I need to probably work. I need to continue maybe with my schooling or just hustle harder. By the time they get to that, there's like a growth that has happened inside here.
Let's talk about that, Cystal. This very issue that you raised. Mbijiwe is arguing that he got married at about 26.
26.
But I also do think, I will agree with Cystal in a bit of a way, because I also do think that 26, maybe 20 years ago, is different from 26
True,
right now.
true.
I think generations have changed. You know, we
Yeah.
just say it right now, like 40 is nearly like the new 20. These things have progressively been changing. In the 80s, somebody would be clearing school and getting married at 18, 19.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then in the 90s, it was shifting, and people are going to school that the girl is getting married at about 30. Right now, a
Yeah.
woman getting married at 40 is not strange.
Yeah.
In those days, that was absolutely strange.
Yes.
In fact, they were becoming grandmothers at 40. And now, at 40, she's just settled in her career. So I also think that there has been a bit of change in that, in development. When we were growing up, probably we were trained to be a bit more independent. Right now, kids grow up, they're so safe, so sequestered, you know. They wake up in the morning, they put on a bus that goes to school, they come back. They don't know those hassles that we had. You run your way to school, come back, fix the meal, go. You are alone on the streets, you've got to learn how to cross the roads and do that. Right now, if your daughter was crossing a few streets, you'd be asking, are you safe?
I know.
And she probably is past 10. Yet, maybe down in the village, a kid who is 3 years will go all the way 7 kilometers to the market and come back.
Yeah.
So I think she's also talking about that aspect of, yes,
Generational change.
but then the developmental stage of these people, that some of them have never even really been thrown into the place where they grew themselves. But having said that, are we having more and more of a lazy generation of young men who are coming in, trying to cling onto women who have money, and then will use that thing of I am the man? Are we having more of that?
Absolutely. We have, I call it the pink problem. The problem is we're having
is it
men. Yeah.
Why pink?
Defend pink.
Yes, please.
Pink men. So you go to Java and you see a girl and
Why are
a
they
guy
pink
and a
men?
chick dating, and then what will happen is after that coffee date,
woman pays
what the woman pays the bill. For me, that was not dating. Those were two girls hanging out because the guy. Because what should happen is, before you have a good mind above your shoulders, before you have your economics in place, before you have a plan in life, before you get some purpose, right? When you stop smelling the teenagers, right, and you have some direction and you have some provision and you have a roof over your head, then at that point you can begin talking to somebody's daughter. You have children. If a young boy came to you who's staying with his parents, right, and he has no career, he has no plan of life, would you accept dowry from such a boy?
But again, where
Ask
is
Chris,
the
you'll be
place?
the elder. Ask
Where
him if
is
he'll
the
accept.
place of the values that Cystal was talking about? There's this place of the values, and then people talk as well about the matter of vision.
Yeah.
Excuse me, that if somebody has vision, they've got the values, maybe they don't have a roof.
Actually, our sister said something at the beginning that I almost forgot, but you brought it up again, the value system.
Right.
What values have I even encultured into my children? My daughter, the one whose friend will come around that time. The thing is, have we even as a generation, the older generation, say the parents or grandparents, have we passed on a legacy to our sons especially? And Chris, truly, such a talk where money and men are seen to be working in tandem, such a talk should be, drilled into the heads of our boys as they grow. Because truly we have raised a young generation, or a generation of young men, vijana, wavulana,
Yes.
that truly have not embraced the whole concept of
Manhood.
Yes, manhood. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you for the word. That they need to lead first
Yes,
themselves.
absolutely.
They need to lead their vision.
Yes.
I've seen Apostle Chris teach many times about reevaluating your vision.
Absolutely, absolutely, Mbijiwe. And I want to jump in here and say, if you're there and you're watching and you're wondering, how do I figure out this money thing? I have a very simple advice, right? A lady should not date the male species. A lady should date a man. And the difference is, as articulated by Miles Monroe, Simeon Bevy, and all these people who are into manhood and so on, is that somebody has the paraphernalia of a man does not make them men. Manhood is about responsibility. Manhood is about provision. Manhood is about strength. Manhood is about security. Manhood is about, being that shelter, being the tower of strength. Now, if you try to hide behind modernity and say, it's modern times, fine, it's modern times. Times have changed, but the definition of a man has not changed. Right? So for me, if you
Has
ask
the role of the man changed? The definition has not changed, but has the role of the man changed?
I want to think that the role of men is consistent over the years. And if you look at several cultures, intuitively, without being taught, men will perform similar roles. So before globalization, right?
But then you're also contradicting yourself because you said you are of the opinion that people need to split into half.
That has nothing to do with, that is resource
Has
allocation
the role
as
changed?
opposed to
Because
resource
if the role
mobilization.
has not changed.
The role is leadership. The role
look
is
at how you're
leadership.
picking and choosing
Then
what
the
works for you.
methodology.
He's picking and choosing what works for him.
That's why the other time I was coming on Stanclaus, because
Yeah.
he's using a lot of words.
Yeah.
No. I think no.
Mbijiwe, you get what I'm
To his defense, truly, to his defense, I think he's saying the traditional role of a man does not change across generations or across ages, even across civilizations. The role, it's like a golden line that
But
from Adam to where we are today, the role of a man doesn't change. What may change
The methodology.
are cultures, not even cultures. What may change are seasons and times and maybe how, as you called, anthropological developments, challenges that come into generations.
Why-
That may change, but not the role.
I want to ask this because when you talk about men, and next week there is Father's Day, but when you talk about men, there has been a lot of pressure on men to redefine themselves because the whole talk will always be that the roles have changed. You see, traditionally, or rather in the past, a woman would be married. From where we came, it would be like you're going to cook, literally.
Yeah.
You're going to cook for this man.
Yeah.
You're not going to do anything else. He already has his place, he has his land, he has his farm, he has his house. So you're coming in to take care of the kitchen. Now, the women right now are not in the kitchen. She has gone out. She has gotten her own job and stuff, primarily. She's not in the kitchen primarily. She is, but she's not there primarily. She also has her dreams. She's gotten her way out. She's working, running her business in the career and something. So she no longer totally needs a man to completely provide everything for her. She can actually get that. So there has been this thought that actually the roles have changed, and that's why men are stressed, because they don't know how to be anything else apart from just a provider. That's why they're intimidated by women who earn money, because then they don't know how to lead the woman who earns money, because before they would intimidate the woman with
the money.
if you leave me, you'll suffer.
Yeah.
If you're not doing this, I will withdraw my support. Now the woman has her money, the man has lost his advantage. Haven't the roles changed right there?
I know what you're trying to do. So to the
I'm not trying
to the inexperienced ear, what coach is saying makes a lot of sense, but not so fast, coach. So what's happening is this. So the leadership role of the man has not quite changed. So the expression of that leadership is dynamic. And we must appreciate, as he has said, there's anthropological development that is happening over time. And it is up to the man who's wise now to look at the anthropological development and say, okay, fine, ultimately there is one leader in the relationship, right? And that leader is a man, right? And therefore then the man should discharge his roles and embrace methods.
I want to ask you something, Stanclaus, before I come to Cystal.
Yeah.
I want to ask you something.
Yes.
Would you take your money and give to somebody who has never made or managed their own money in business terms? Let's not talk about relationship.
Yes.
You're a business person. Would you give your money to be managed by somebody whom you don't believe or trust or think can run money at that level?
The problem with that parallel, because you want to hijack my opinion, because you're giving me a parallel where whichever way I go, I'm in trouble. Right? So I will not allow that parallel, and for one reason only. It's a business relationship, and business we use risk analysis and so on. But a marital relationship has nothing to do with skills and ability. A marital relationship is primarily so that we are already married. It means we have trust, and I'm willing to give you my life.
In certain
So
areas,
what's
right?
changed?
In certain
What's changed?
Areas, in certain areas, because I don't think it is a blanket trust. I think that there's certain areas that people keep on working, especially with matters like finances. I've seen couples that started with, let's give the money to the man or let's give the money to the woman. They have had to change that along the way because probably they realize this person is not strong in stewardship.
Okay.
So it is not blanket trust.
Got you.
It's
Now,
That was on the shared
coach, let me
account
come
and-
back.
and
Let me.
all.
Not just shared account. I mean, it's just like
The principle.
So when we
So
start,
you are the one who handles the bills and
you
everything.
handle everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then slowly we realize the bills are not being paid. Things that have been agreed upon are not being done. Where's the money going to? Then somebody is seen to be a mismanager of the money. In fact, sometimes even the person may be the person who's generating the money, but they're not good
In managing.
in
Do you think if
managing the money.
a husband is told that in the house setting, there'll be peace? You are mismanaging our money because we were supposed to do 1, 2, 3. The plan was that by the time we get to 3 years, we need to have started buying land and building our own house. But because you have been saying you're starting this business and it did not work, or you have been buying 1, 2, 3 things that did not work, now look at us. Where is this relationship going to go after this? Excuse me.
But I think a lot of ladies have that conversation, right? Is that why women go into chamas and
Chamas.
stuff?
Oh yes, let's
You
go
probably
there. Let's go
Now,
there.
let's examine the theology of Chama.
Absolutely. We have quite a couple of things to say there. Now, the thing is this. Many women who find that their husbands are inadequate on the finance part, what will they do then? They will quickly run to a chama and find some solace. And as it were, those functions that were supposed to be performed by the husband will now be performed by the chama because now you're having this merry-go-round and so on. Do I blame them? I don't know. But what I know is this, Chris. Yeah?
Let me help you there. You see that unfortunately our culture puts the responsibility of children on the women more than it does on the men. Should anything happen, if things go sour, if a child is sick, it's a woman who's likely to leave her job, take care of the child. If
Yes, to sleep in the hospital especially.
But we pay for the
even if you
hospital.
have a special needs child,
We pay for the hospital.
special needs child. No, sometimes women, it's not just about them, and they want you to be present. But culturally, we tend to have it's the woman who's present for the children. Then the man provides for, as opposed to being present for the children. So if they go to chamas, they're thinking, wait, should hit the fan? I apologize. Should things go bad? Should things go bad?
Yeah.
I need to be able to have a plan. So then, hence the chamas. If I save this money, because my husband is not understanding what I'm saying about our development, because if the man hasn't come up with the idea of developing us as a couple, as a family, then it will take a long time before he takes the woman's push or idea to develop the family. Unless she keeps pushing it. If people keep saying women are nagging or pushing, it's because we know what is quote unquote good for the family. Because sometimes they will push you and you feel like, yo, just calm down. No, because we know if I keep pushing you, then you'll see that we need to be able to develop ourselves in this direction. Yeah. But if you're dragging your feet, then she thinks, okay, let me not sit and wait for things to go bad. Let me try and have a plan. That's when chamas come in.
Well, the theology of Chama, and just to support a little of what you said, women want security.
Yeah.
That is not necessarily this security they are used to at home.
Right.
And by the way, I also think, and I could say this is even from my personal experience, lots of women are in chama because they want to be sure if something goes wrong here, if this marriage around me here, I have somewhere to run back to for financial support. And I should say, really, chama is a great concept for women, but it should never be seen as a substitute to the role of a man in that woman's life if they are in a relationship or in a marriage.
Do you think we are insecure that when we are inadequate, we blame the chama? So if she comes in and she has other ideas, so you didn't do what she asked you to do, so you get angry with her and say, these are the things you get from the chama, so we attack
well, Apostle, truly, I mean, like my brother said earlier, some men have since joined chamas, but women chamas, they keep asking, can we join? But in all the work that I've had, and truly, I was even in a profession where 96% of the people there were men in the military. We never had chama. Men have this self-sufficient mentality that no matter what, money, I will make it through. So women, I think, because of their encapsulation, and let me also say, history really, women think, should the man not be there, it will come down to me, the children. And by the way, a lot of men have also absconded their responsibilities and left their women to take care of their children. How would even a man find sleep that you have kids out there that you don't care?
Can you imagine?
How do you find sleep?
So now you should be able to join him and have that man, the program you're saying for men, and help them think like that.
He has it already.
No. Join him and then encourage them.
Yeah, but Chris, and Crystal, you'll agree. Did you know that even these women who so-called provide and they have hijacked the financial situation of the house and they're the ones leading and so on, even them in their heart of hearts, they really want the man to rise up to the occasion. At the end of the day, even these super successful women, they're just saying, if only my husband could rise up to the occasion, I'll be more than happy to deliver my whole past to him, because this is nature to women.
So you're back to a question that I asked earlier, which was, if the woman is earning 100K and the man is earning 20K, so who should decide where they're going to in terms of like the rent or something? Because you've just said that even the woman who is doing well wishes that the man would do something. You see? So it means that even when the woman is earning more, she still wants to feel like she's a woman in this relationship. So who then should decide, or who should pay? If I am earning 20K, my wife is earning 100K, who is going to pay that?
Depends with the value base. It purely depends on the value base. It depends on the foundation upon which we are standing. If we are on Cystal's foundation and it's a value-based relationship and we are all very open and Christians and so on, then you will find that the conversation around merging funds is more palatable. But the women who will be earning 100K, so when you talk about the woman is earning 100K, the man is earning 20K, does the man know first that the woman is earning 100K? Because many of these ladies will never say exactly how much they're earning. So most likely than not.
Actually, while on that, brother, let me just interject. We early in the office before she came, we actually talked about it. Right. And I told you, I know this friend who's been married for 13 years as of last year. His wife comes from my hood in the countryside. The wife told me, like she's like my sister from the village, so we talk quite some stuff. She said, my husband has never seen my payslip
and will
for
never.
The entire 13 years we've been married, and he will never. I went home, mouth agape, because I go, what is this about payslip? Look, this man knows everything about you, including your body.
Except payslip, So the issue of 100K.
I'll put it on the table, but
it happens a lot also on the flip side, that there are a lot of women who have never seen the pay slip of their men. It happens a lot.
Also true. So this 100K, 20K thing is an issue of the level of disclosure. So who has disclosed what?
Who have quite a bit of money. They say, I make a lot of money, I'm fine. I make a lot of money, so I'm good. So like, I'll buy things like food in the house, because if I can't buy it, to be crazy, because I make a lot of money. But I will never pay school fees. I will never pay the rent. She makes a couple of them, quite a bit. But that is something that they will never ever do. Because in the assumption that I still need to feel like, even if I have a lot, I still need to feel like I am being protected, provided for, And
There
I
you
feel,
go.
and then you guys, even if you want to sugarcoat it,
Yeah.
if you provide, there's a sort of way that a woman just tends to
Thank you
mold
so much.
herself.
I
to
feel
be,
like clapping for you right
you
now.
know, if
Thank
you provide,
you
then
so
she'll just be
much.
like, you know what? Okay.
Increase the volume.
You know?
Say that again.
If you ask me, I've come home, can I have some food? By all means, I'll go and get you some food. Could you add me? Or go and get me some water. I will do it.
Hey, this is
Because I feel like I am secure. I am protected, provided. I don't have to worry about it. Like, oh, okay, my husband is not going to pay rent. What am I going to do? I have to
Yeah.
overthink it. And guys, whether we accept it or not, women tend to think through, even if we're happily married, we think, should we not be happily married in the next 5, 10 years? What will I do? Yeah. Even if we are fine now, nothing is showing a situation where we're going to be unhappy. I'm just like, nope, I got to have a plan. Yes.
And that's where Chama comes in.
But
Yeah,
do
and
the men
also-
also have a
me
plan?
ask
Do the men also have a plan?
Because
You do,
women
but
will always-
women think about the children.
women think a lot about what if things don't work. How come men don't think about that?
Look, it's also, I think it's the nature of men. It's the nature of men, Apostle, and truly it hits me as well. Why it has never been an issue to me.
Yeah, why is it that men think that
But I'm
they
sure if you
think
ask your
that
wife, she's thought about it.
Look, it doesn't matter for me which side of the bed I rose up in.
Yeah.
That's a care that I hardly have. That in case tomorrow or the next tomorrow I'm not within town.
Yeah.
Of course, my brother talked about strategic, leadership and even strategy. Really, it's about how. I read a book where the author said, if you don't have a strategy, you'll end up in a tragedy. I think we should also, cushion our families against some of these eventualities.
Yeah.
And truly, Apostle, faith and having lots of faith, as many of us do, sometimes things go south. You could have a health challenge.
Yeah.
You could end up, even in a situation where your life is normal.
Yeah.
We should also cushion our families, our children, against some of these
Eventualities, as it were.
And therefore, consultants like our brother here could come in handy to tell us how can we project our resources today and tomorrow to be in the place that we are in case we are not around. And of course, that also throws again the challenge to the men folk.
Absolutely.
Because again, how do I even lie in peace? You say rest in peace. How do I rest in peace when my children have now become chokoras on the street, or they cannot go to the same school
Yeah.
they are
Yeah.
going to because I have decided to rest in peace?
This is it, Mbijiwe.
All right.
And
Emmy
something,
Joy,
sorry.
Emmy Joy saying very good conversation. Thank you, Emmy Joy, joining us all the way from the US. Betty Jet Ochiel saying just landed. Thank you for joining us. That is from London. Quite a number of people here. Josh Mbogos, Pastor Sam Nyaga, Joseph Murunga, Martin Oloch as well. I saw a gentleman who was saying very good conversation, and he was watching that from Johannesburg. And then there's Isaac Wagwire over here as well. Probably quite a number of people disappointed already because we're getting to know that the cessation order stays for the next 30 days. All right. There's this gentleman, Kevin Owino, who talks about the pink problem, and they were laughing about that. That's what Stanclaus is saying about that. And so that's somebody said the president just extended cessation for another 30 days. People had high hopes. I warned them in the morning. I warned that in the morning. I actually posted something.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Frustration comes when you have
Too much
expectations.
When things you can't
over things
control.
that you can control.
Yeah.
You better keep living. So that means low business, possible loss of jobs, basically less money. How do the men remain on top and manage financial cover for their families?
It's a good question.
But it's a difficult. I mean, surely
Yeah.
that's a really difficult question. Yeah, and it can be answered arrogantly.
Did
It
you
can
guys
be
see the
answered nicely. It
picture
can
of
be
the-
answered.
did you see the
Can be
guys-
answered many ways.
There's a
Eh?
picture where I think the guys who had been evicted from, where's that place in Eastlands next to, where the government had
Yes, it's
Yeah.
okay.
what's that place?
Well, the sewage thing.
Yes.
About
There
Yeah.
was, yeah. There was a couple of,
right?
no, not Kariobangi, yes.
Okay.
And then there was a lady who was standing looking at her husband, and then he was seated like this, as if, so the meme was, the woman is looking to him, asking, what are we going to do now? Because now we don't have a house, we are outside, it's raining, what are we going to do? So it was very interesting that the memes were more about the lady looking to the man to give solution.
Yeah.
Yeah, as opposed to maybe, because again, provision, protection.
Yeah. And let me quickly interject to bring you to the same point you had brought earlier. When a man finds himself between the rock and a hard place, which happens.
Yeah,
I
it
don't know
does.
about my brothers here, but
Every
I
day
found
when we
myself-
wake up,
yes,
man.
I found myself between the rock and a hard place many, many times.
It does.
A man's internal engineering, the way God created a man, is that actually when you find yourself between the rock and a hard place,
Yeah.
some nature of God burns in you to find a solution. And so instead of a man getting into depression and sinking into depression, a man at the time that is caught between the rock and a hard place, like you're saying, your wife is crying, your children are crying,
Yeah.
you have no house behind you, you're going to find a way. A man cannot join his wife and children to cry. when,
Is that
when God almost lost the world, when God
Yes.
almost lost the world to the devil and to sin,
Oh,
he
yes.
didn't cry.
Agreed,
he looked
man.
around himself and
Oh,
said,
yes.
let us. He gave away himself in his son. A man should look into himself and find, what the hell can I do here?
Yeah.
But should
man.
you be, before I forget, should you be in a place where both of you are working and then things are not working out for you, like in this situation with the secession and stuff, business is really struggling? This is the time to really talk to your wife, like really be open. Don't assume that she knows what you're thinking. You've mentioned that, our business is struggling, so you think she's going to know that you mean she needs to pick up some things in the house. She doesn't. Just sit down and say, by the way, 1, 2, 3 is not the same. Could you help me, or could we reduce our expenses 1, 2, 3, so that I'm not so strained? Otherwise, you're going to lose your mind. You're going to get into depression, and then you're going to blame her. Yet she has no idea what you're struggling with.
And generally, don't you think, two things I've got to say. You talked about that the man should come up and not cry. Some men say that is pressure. They say that's why men are, becoming suicidal, that there's so much pressure on them. Nobody thinks that the men are going through anything, so we are putting a lot of pressure on the man. Do you think that is valid? And then the second thing about what Cystal has just said right now. So this woman, even in the midst of this fear that everybody will have, the money is going down. Generally, it's going down even for her, probably. And women love security. I saw one lady say here that it's the security that makes them go into chamas. Who was that again? That's Flora. Flora Koile said it's the security matter that makes them go into chamas. So this woman is also fearful that money is getting less and less. So even as we are asking this woman to chip in, don't you think that there's an aspect of her that is even getting more scared by the fact that we don't have that income here,
yeah.
and the one I thought we were going to keep for a certain day is what you want to touch it? Don't you think that's a difficult place as well?
It's true,
That's
and
true.
this brings the aspect of men that suffer depression. Sometimes, again, because of maybe your school of thought, where you've been through life, who your company is. Sometimes, as men, when this pressure hits us, we either turn to some will turn to bad stuff like drinking or something just to pacify the mind. But truly, a man should face the situation and know, look, you're not the only man facing this problem. All these men here, these men folks here,
yes.
we go through stuff, my friend. That's why, as much as I truly want to understand when someone is depressed and goes into suicide, I completely don't agree with someone who commits suicide because that's a coward.
Yeah, that's
regardless
awesome.
of what sent you there.
Yeah.
You're trying to make yourself so special
Yeah.
that life should come to you on a silver platter. My friend, men get out there and hustle their way into success. None of us got this thing on a silver platter, my friend.
Yeah.
But they will crawl
People are being cajoled nowadays. We have that being cajoled. Say, no, it's okay to
if you
cry.
pamper,
That's
Chris, Apostle Chris. Apostle Chris's son is actually a footballer. That young man goes to play in Barcelona out there. Do they beg him to train? They put the young man through pressure.
Yeah.
If you want your sons to be successful,
Yeah.
my friend, you gotta let them face the world. If you pamper boys are not for pampering. No, boys should be thrown out to the wind. That's why I see some single mothers. Some of the people that have raised some of the weakest men are single mothers.
Yeah.
With all salute and respect to single mothers for every effort they make to raise kids whose fathers became runaway fathers. However, single mothers should treat the young men they raise. If you're a single mother of a boy, Get that boy to fly like other eagles.
That's
if you
what's up.
pamper him like a girl,
Even-
you
no,
going to have
no,
a
no, no,
boy
no.
for a woman.
Even
The pink generation.
don't you say that. Don't you say that. Because even women don't want to be, what's the polite word? It can come. Even women don't want to be that. We don't want to be less. No, so
Yeah.
even as mothers are pushing their boys, I honestly don't understand depression, and I'm the worst person to talk about it because I think we can all get through difficult things.
Sure.
I think we can all pray. I think we can all push ourselves out of it. So I'm the worst person to talk about mental health or depression because I don't understand it.
Yes.
Now, even women should not cajole their girls.
Yes,
We can, I tell my daughter, can you go out? Somebody has beaten me. Don't come and cry to me that somebody has beat you. Fight, and then you come both of you and report.
Yeah.
Because you see, I'm a grown woman. I can't be going to beat, your child has beat my child. I'm coming to beat your child. You think I'm crazy. So why don't the two of you fight out there? Then you come and report that we have fought. Okay, then you say sorry to each other. But there's no way of saying, okay, sorry, baby, come. I'm sorry. No. Otherwise, the world is so harsh, and then she gets out there, and then like nobody's laughing. Nobody's going to love you. You have to man up and find ways to,
I really should have had somebody here who would speak for the people who have been depressed.
Well,
regretfully.
you can bring them over next time. But,
Yeah,
but
this is what.
depression gets to a point where it becomes clinical, medical,
Right.
to the
Yeah.
point where it needs to be treated. However, before it gets to that
That is
point,
only for the they're called
PTSD.
postpartum depression, or people who have come from military. It needs to be something, not just because my boyfriend left me. It can't be that.
no, but
Or
that is
I have
what
a lot of
drives
work.
people to depression.
Aye, my boyfriend
I'm
left
so
me.
depressed. Jaliongo ameniacha.
Aye, what are those?
Let's come back to
No.
the other question still. Let's come back to the other question still.
Yeah.
Because that depression matter, we must handle it another time. But let's come back to the other question still. The woman has been keeping this money. The man is losing his. She's afraid because the man has been losing his money. And she's not making as much money either. Then she's at a place where, because probably she has more, she has to release this. Don't you think that it is also pressure on the woman and she would be scared about that?
No, I think, as I said earlier, that people are just hiding selfishness behind the convenient philosophies. The truth of the matter is this: we are together in this life. We are one thing, as people say. When you're married to your one and so on, you've already given this man your life. Right? The guy has already written there that things are getting hard, money is reducing. What kind of devil woman is this that wants to keep money? The man doesn't have cash, right? The coronavirus is chewing everything, right? And you are holding back your money from your husband.
Cystal said the woman thinks about the children as well. So when it comes to balancing between this man has no money and the security of the children, where do you think the woman will go?
But this security of the children, so is it security of the children after the man has lost his money and left the family, and therefore now we need security? Or it's that the man doesn't have money now because everybody needs security right
Let's
now?
rehabilitate the man's
Absolutely.
career, for example.
This is it. Because let me ask, what is the idea that I'm putting away security for my children suggests that first, the children are not important to the man. And number two, at some point the man is going to leave
But
and leave you alone,
I've just
and
told
therefore
you,
then you
women
have
always,
to.
even if we are happy now, women just always think what will happen to my kids in a couple of years. We don't live in I want to believe that mature women are many, not just, We don't live in a cocoon thinking this is all that is going to be beautiful and we'll always be okay. What if we're not okay? Are my kids going to be okay? Sadly. But like he said, I don't think men think about, are my kids going to be okay, like as much as women do. You do, but there's a level. There's a level that a woman is willing to, the right Kiswahili word, kujinyima, just so she can put some aside. Should the kids need it, they're going to be fine. But men is like, okay, we need to sort this now.
Of course, the men think our mentality is whether I'm there or not, this life is going to just deliver to my kids what they deserve. The woman thinks she must pamper the kids through success. You understand?
But okay, and my time is just getting run out though, but I need to bring out this because it's very pertinent still. The question that I've asked and Cystal was answering this. Mbijiwe, as you talk about that, generally, a man believes his children will go through. Most women will think that if I'm not here, my children will be affected. A man will believe, if I'm not here, their mother is here. She'll take care of, or my mother will, somebody else will. But a woman is thinking, if I'm not here, nobody will take my place over these children. So it brings in that element of the woman feeling like she's going to be protective over these children the more, because she feels that nobody would actually do this for her. Is it valid then for the women to have their own secret accounts?
Chris, let me tell you, philosophical questions can never be solved emotionally, and emotional questions can never be solved philosophically. So what people need to embrace is some practical.
Questions cannot
So
be,
if you
you cannot run away from questions intellectually. You just
because
have to come
Chris,
back and answer
one is a
my
philosophical position that my children will not go through if I'm not here. The other one, the if I'm not here part is an emotional thing, right? So now you are pushed to make an irrational decision based on fear. I don't think anything justifies a woman to be untruthful to her husband as far as resources is concerned just because of insecurities that she holds.
And by the way, for women, we should also understand this, Chris, and women include our mothers, my mother. Her relationship with me started long time ago when I was in her womb. That emotional attachment to her child can never change. It doesn't matter how many generations of years pass. She will always suffer that philosophical versus emotional, conflict.
Right.
And by the way, that's how God designed it. So for the men, kazi yetu ni put it on, shake yourself and put some bread on the table, and life goes on. And truly, the pride of every man, and because time is is not on our side, the pride of every man is to provide for the people that depend on him.
Yeah.
Every man should work so hard that even when things don't work, get out there and do something about it. Recently, I had a situation where a lady came to my office to look for a job for her husband in this Corona time. So I said to her, send me his CV. He had no CV. She sat down the next day to prepare a CV. But I asked her, what do you do? She said, I'm a nurse. I said, can I get you a nursing job? Because those are the jobs that are available right now. I called several doctors. I said, hey, you need to try this out. I sent her a CV. One day, I even asked her, what else do you do? She said, I help people that have maternal problems at home because pregnant women are not going to hospital right now. I asked her, can I send the media to cover that story? And one day she's on her way just to help. And media called her. They covered her story on television. A doctor saw the story, gave her a job at Kenyatta National Hospital. The man is still trying to hustle somewhere. And well, I told him, unfortunately, in your trade, right now only doctors can get jobs. But then one day I had a talk with her and the husband outside their house. I said to her, you stop worrying about the needs of this house. It is his business. He knows me, he knows others. If this house is locked, he will call us. We will deal with this situation. Stop worrying about your profession. So I was saying to some women who are also thinking, oh, I must have 10 chamas, I must do this. Sometimes you must also respect the order of God. Let the man be the man. Come on.
That's a good point.
I agree.
That's a very good
There's
point.
a gentleman who's saying this before we take our closing thoughts, and he says mental health is sensitive. That's Kevin Owino. He says mental health is sensitive because it takes nursing to bring out healing in those who are hospitalized. There is grace for helping those who are weak in different ways. Both men and women aren't all strong the same. We should strengthen the hands which hang down and feeble knees which whisper well. So Kevin, I hear you. Mental health is sensitive. You must understand as well, Mbijiwe is an ex-military man. So he doesn't represent my thoughts. He has to just drill it the way it is being drilled over there. But again, that's the essence of a conversation, that all angles and all shades of thought are brought in, and then we get, your reactions and you think about it as well. I wish we could have more time, but
Can I just something before you close?
I'm not closing yet. I want your closing thoughts as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because when he said something that is very key, if you go in thinking that this is all on me, you will think differently as a man. This is all on me. It's supposed to be my responsibility to provide. I don't look up to my wife to do it or somebody else to do it. This is all on me. Then you'll approach the situation very differently.
Right.
However, I would tell also women, please have the conversation before you. Don't just think I just need to get married. That's what is key. Or I'm getting old. Please have a conversation with this man. A woman can tell in a very short time where this man is sitting. And even you, man, don't present yourself with a beautiful coat like you're saying is borrowed. And then she thinks she's placed you at a particular place. Yeah. But that's not who you are. Right. So how she's coming with the expectation that this is who you are, but you are here. Then it starts becoming a struggle.
Right.
come with bear, be honest, and also, guys, play within your league. Like, let's just be honest. Play within your league.
Wait a minute,
Yes.
wait a minute. You said,
Yes.
did you just say play within your league?
Yes.
Didn't she just say that economics don't matter?
Nobody.
What has happened about league now?
Because nobody, if you play within your league, you don't have to borrow
Economic
a quote.
league.
You don't have to borrow a
Economic
quote.
league.
Yes,
So,
economic. You don't have
but
to
before
borrow
you
a
had
quote.
said the economics don't matter.
No, but in my relationship, for
Yeah.
me, value was the only thing that made me choose my
So you
husband.
changed your mind shortly?
No, you're not understanding. You said you borrowed your coat to go and have a date, for
Yeah,
example, right?
yeah.
How about if you pick somebody who you see, you're not trying to impress.
Okay,
You're
fair
trying
enough,
to be
yeah.
yourself. You will not have to borrow a coat if you play within your economic league. You will not need to borrow. You will not need to borrow your friend's car to go and impress.
Yeah.
You will go as yourself. Whether she takes it or leaves it, that's on her.
Yeah.
Please. And guys, women, please listen. Don't start imagining in your head the way I'm going to. No, it's fine. I'm going to be able to tweak this and change this into something else. Please listen. If he says hata sina haraka, mimi niko tu sawa na hii kazi yangu, hata sina please listen. Please don't imagine ati sasa nitafanya kafanya masters. Nitamsukuma hapana. Leave it alone.
Yes.
Find whoever you feel like. Now we have similar values and we're going the same pace.
Absolutely, I agree with you 100%.
My closing remark, I mean, with all, humility, is we will never be the same. Every man, like Apostle will teach you here many times in church, every man runs their race.
Yeah.
And I mean, even a woman. So you squeezy kwa lugha ya vijana, it's called lanes. So wasema lanes, my friend. Stay on your lane. Wacha kungana lane ya Mbijiwe ama lane ya my brother here. Stick to your lane and try to improve your speed, your worth within your lane. Usishindane na mtu mwingine. Look, this race we started at different times. That's you're born on your own day. Believe you me, if you like it or not, you die on your own day. Kaburi yako ni yako. We cannot be buried together. So it's your race, buddy. So run your race, cut yourself to your size, try to improve yourself, and above all, give God the glory for everything you achieve in this life, especially the man.
All right. Stanclaus, can
Absolutely.
you manage a 30-second?
30 seconds is too much. I actually just have one word, yeah?
Okay.
Let the real men rise up, right? So if you're dating somebody who behaves like a boy, please dump them today and expose yourself to people who are embodying these things that Mbijiwe is saying. Listen, you can come up with very many explanations to explain away your weakness, your lack of seriousness, your lack of purpose, your lack of focus, your laziness, and so forth. But even you, in your heart of hearts, you know that you are not rising up to the occasion as a man. So whitewash the pink nonsense, stop being a pink man, rise up to the occasion, and just provide for your family.
All right. Flora Coyle says, secret account is not it, but we have to agree on having separate accounts for separate kinds of investments. A me account. When I read Proverbs 31, the definition of manhood and womanhood changes, all of that. And somewhere she says, thank you, Mbijiwe. So there are people who are actually happy with what you are saying. Boys are not for pampering as well. Then women are strategic thinkers, just like the Holy Spirit. It's a beautiful and a real thing as well. Who is that? Reinhard saying, Stan, you're amazing. We need to talk in one platform. Well, of course, you need a host like myself to bring you to And then Flora says, Crystal, you have spoken like a million brilliant women. Well, that's all the time we have had for today. We will see whether we can get this panel back so that we can talk about certain other matters here. We didn't even get into the issue of like the accounts, and investments and things like that. But we'll see when we can work it out and get us back again to talk about the money matters. It's an old age question, but it keeps coming back. No matter how many times we hear it, it keeps coming back over and over and over. So next Saturday we are here again with the CJ Scott on the Saturday Starter. Well, at least the sensation for the next 30 days keeps you hooked to what is your favorite show now on Saturday, which is the CJ Scott. Well, right here tomorrow we've got services on Sunday. So, after we are done with this, so tomorrow we've got services at 8:30 a.m., 10:30 a.m. and 3 p.m. online as well. Monday we talk money matters, the Commonwealth, and then we've got something, the Shepherd staff coming up in the night. On the Tuesdays we've got a victory service, and then all the other that just keep on following through the week Of course, with the morning, we start with prayer in the morning, May 6 to 7 a.m. And we will keep you posted even as we go. It's been a joy, a delight, and a pleasure just to present this to you. For those of you who want to be of support, the numbers are on your screen as well. You know, the pay bill, you've got the direct M-Pesa. Those my friends from abroad, thank you for your support all as well. So you use the Wave or the direct. You're doing direct M-Pesa, Wave, or World Remit. The number is +254721556. For those of you who have been so amazing, all from the US, from Canada, from Europe, from the Middle East, all of you who keep on watching and getting blessed by what we are doing. Until the next time, this has been the CJ Scott. See you. Say it again. God Almighty. You have all power and all wisdom. You have all riches. You reign in majesty. You created all things, and you were King of the gods and the Lord, eternal God, and the great I am. Seated in heaven, but ruling the earth. You have all power and all wisdom. You have all riches. You reign in majesty. Created all things, and you King of the flood.